getting us stuck.
Look at that, it's a pufferfish. Hey there folks, my name is Alex, and for about the last month my partner Meg and I have been driving around here in Baja, Mexico in our two-wheel drive van, and we have gone out onto pretty much every single beach that we have desired to go onto. That includes the super deep sandy beaches, the rocky beaches, the kind of in-between beaches like this, and have had really no trouble. Are you a vehicle dweller that dreams of driving out onto a beach just like this, staying right alongside the water and getting your little piece of paradise, but really fear getting stuck in the sand? Well, this video is made just for you. It seems like from the myriad of videos and photos that I've seen of people stuck in the sand, a video like this might really benefit a lot of people. So before we get started, please bear in mind that although I am a licensed professional driver, my expertise in this area comes from my personal experience. I've gone out, I've got stuck, I've got unstuck, and I've learned from my mistakes, and now I'm confident in driving in the sand, and I think that you can be too. If you have any helpful suggestions or tips that you have learned from going out and getting stuck in the sand, please feel free to put them in the comment section below. I'd love to see them, I'd love to learn, and this video really is just for educational purposes. All right, let's go learn how to not get stuck. This is Betty. She's a two-wheel drive 2006 Chevy Express 2500 van. She's 8,600 pounds, aka she's heavy as fuck. But we have no issue getting out on the sand and driving around. You see this squat? It's not very good. I'm not very flexible. But do you see this squat? This is a good squat. Our first, easiest, and best tip for driving in the sand is air down your tires. So I could probably end the video right here with that one tip, just airing down your tires. Getting a low PSI in your tires will get you out of like 90% of your stuck situations out on the beach. Where most people go wrong is they're uncomfortable with airing down their tires really, really low, and will normally stop at maybe like 30 PSI, which is definitely not low enough. As you can see, this tire is like really, really squatted out. You can see that the surface area on the bottom of the tire is really, really wide, and that does wonders for just like floating your vehicle above the sand. This rim right here will hold a bead right down to 0 PSI, and you can probably drive on it. Now, that's not what I suggest, but that is to say that at 5 PSI and driving around, the bead is going to stay on the rim. So you really don't have to worry so much about getting your PSI super low, so long as you're driving slow and not driving around like a race car driver on pavement, because as soon as you load up the sidewall, that's when you're going to start doing damage, and your tires are also going to heat up and stuff like that. So yeah, air down your tires. So if your goal is to drive around on the sand a lot, I would say at a minimum get yourself some all-terrain tires like a BF Goodrich KO2 or something like that. At the time, I have pretty inconclusive data as to what is the best. We have mud terrains on the van right now, and honestly I have no idea if they do better in the sand than an all-terrain tire, but definitely having the extra tread, and especially the sidewall tread, is really important, because when those tires squat, then this becomes part of your traction platform. So if you're in a 1/2 ton or 3/4 ton pickup already, it may have come from the factory with a locker in it. Believe it or not, all two-wheel drive vehicles are technically only one-wheel drive, and it's not until you throw a locker in that it becomes an actual two-wheel drive. That's because an open differential is built so that the power goes to the wheel that's spinning. A locker simply prevents that and sends power to both wheels. This is a massive traction upgrade. I don't suggest that this is something that you go out and buy, because it is a very costly upgrade if you don't already have it. But if you are really looking to get lots of traction and to go all over the place, a locker is a really, really great option. We just put this locker in the van and it has done great, and that is because we want to go to places and I wanted to have the traction. So yeah, lockers and stuff. I have to get into the shadow of the van here because it's so hot my camera's overheating. Anyway, Second key point to driving in the sand is momentum. Once you have established momentum, do not give it up. You're gonna have to feather your throttle in and out, depends on the hardness of the surface you're driving on. If it starts to get a little bit soft, then you have to feather your throttle more, but do it slowly. One of the biggest detriments to your momentum is spinning your tires, because all that's gonna do is throw sand out the back of your vehicle and sink you straight down and make it more difficult for your vehicle to go forward, because all of a sudden you're starting to go uphill on the sand. So inevitably at some point you're gonna have to turn your vehicle. And it's kind of one of those walking a fence situations. If you're going too fast, you're gonna start pushing sand, and if you go too slow, you're probably gonna start pushing sand. And what happens in sand is that when you start to turn your vehicle, the vehicle might wanna go straight because your soft surface that you're driving on is just breaking out from underneath your tires. So you want your vehicle to maintain that float on top of the sand, and you want to do it at a nice even pace and a nice wide arc if you can afford it. If not, then I think probably you're just gonna have to kind of play by ear depending on your situation. So the third key point to driving on the sand, believe it or not, is stopping. So where you stop and how you stop are actually really important. So it's gonna pay you back before you go out on the sand to go and walk it and figure out where you want to stop. The reason being is that first you wanna make sure that where you're gonna stop is not on a hill. The last thing you wanna do is actually stop with your vehicle pointing uphill. Now, unless you intend to drive backwards out of that stopping place, if you try and go forwards, it's going to be really difficult to get any momentum or traction. And also, when you come to a stop, you want to come to a slow rolling stop so that the sand underneath your tire remains somewhat compacted. If you lay on your brakes, all that sand is going to shuff out to the side and ahead of the tire. You're going to dig yourself down a little bit, and you're going to have loose sand underneath your tire for when you want to leave. All right, let's talk about when you get stuck. But first, we need to talk about the tools that you need to get unstuck. And these are really important. So let's walk to the back of the van. So, tools. First and very best tool to have is a shovel. It's really funny to me when people come out of their van when they're stuck in the sand, they've got one of those dinky little fold-up shovels. That's just gonna make way more work for yourself. Bring a big shovel with you, because sometimes you have to move a lot of sand and those dinky little shovels just don't cut it. So this shovel right here cost me maybe 30 bucks, and I've had it for, oh, I don't know, 8 years or something like that. So it doubles as our poop shovel and as our get us out of sticky situations shovel. So your second biggest getting unstuck asset that you can carry with you is these guys right up here. Those are traction boards. Now, name brand doesn't matter. Anything loose resembling that is better than not having it at all. I bought these secondhand for 60 bucks. They're no-name Amazon traction boards, but they work great. Honestly, I haven't had to use them to get myself unstuck. More often than not, actually 100% of the time, it has been getting other people unstuck, but they are invaluable and I wouldn't go anywhere without them, especially being a two-wheel drive vehicle. They also double as a shovel in the event that you don't bring your coveted poop shovel with you. And also they act as a great leveler in the event that you can't find any rocks, which is not very often. And if you are on the sand, you can park your two-wheel drive van on top of them so that when you go to leave, you have immediate traction and you can get that little bit of momentum that you need to stay on top of the sand. So yeah, traction boards. All right, next on the docket. So in the event that you are hopelessly stuck in the sand, you have no shovel, no traction boards, and no way of getting out of the sand, but you do happen to have another vehicle, or there's another vehicle close by, this right here. This is not just a tow strap, this is a kinetic strap, and it's really, really good for situations in mud and sand. And the way that a kinetic strap works differently than just a tow strap is that the vehicle pulling the vehicle that's stuck can drive away really fast, and then this stretches out like this, and basically increases the pulling load by half, I think. I don't know the exact numbers of it, but it does a far better job of pulling vehicles out that are stuck in the sand or mud. This is a really, really good thing to have. Again, I bought this secondhand for I think 80 bucks or something like that. It's just a cheap one, but I have it, and we have already used it to pull out a bus, which was pretty cool to watch. So kinetic rope, it's better than just a tow strap. That right there, I'm not gonna pull it out, it's really hard, but that is a air compressor. Get yourself a good quality air compressor, because believe me, if you're out here and you're going out onto a lot of beaches, you spend a lot of your life airing up and airing down your tires, so you want to be able to do it as quickly as possible. So good compressor. Also, get yourself an easy deflator. This is made by ARB, but there's other Amazon brands that they do the same thing, and they make airing down your tires a heck of a lot easier. All right, parting words before we drive out onto this sand. I have a few last little tidbits of wisdom. If you are stuck, dig trenches out in front of your tires, and it's important that you dig down below the tire so that the tire is rolling down and not up, and that will allow you to get a little bit of momentum. But the important part about the trenches is that they have to ease out. Don't dig a trench and then go straight up like this, otherwise your vehicle is just going to hit that and then have to go up onto a bump, and it's just not going to work very well. So if you ease the trench out, then your vehicle has a better chance of getting the momentum that it needs to stay on top of the sand. This also works great if you just dig small trenches out ahead of your tires when you're parked before you want to leave the beach. Again, it just gives your vehicle a fighting chance to get the momentum it needs. Number two, I've already mentioned something like this before, but when you come to park, just lay traction boards out for your drive tires and drive up onto them. And this will just give your vehicle a lot of traction when you're first starting off, and again, you'll get more momentum and you'll be able to stay on top of the sand. Just a little trick if you feel like you might not be able to do that when you're getting going again. Number three, before you go out onto the sand, have an exit strategy. Walk out onto the sand, find where the hard spots are, find where the soft spots are, go figure out where you can turn around and an alternate exit of the beach in the event that you need to keep your momentum and get off the beach. Also, it's probably better to point your vehicle in the direction of the exit, even though you may want your door opened up to the ocean. Sometimes if it's really soft sand and you're worried about getting out, it might be better just pointing your nose at the exit so that you can go and you don't have to do any kind of funky turning around or something like that. And last but not least, and I kind of forgot to mention this before, but when you're starting out on the sand, it is imperative that you ease into it. Do not put your foot down to the ground and spin those tires, because you're just gonna go straight down. You need to ease your vehicle into motion, because if you spin your tires, it just throws sand out the back. And what you actually want to do is, with those lugs in your tires, they want to grab sand and they want to place it underneath the tire, not throw it out the back. So just nice and gentle. That will do you a lot of good.
Alex got us stuck.
So we're up at 20 PSI right now. That's what we were driving on the road with. And I think that if we go just 5 PSI more, down to 15, we'll pop right out of the sand. All right, so a few other little notes that I remembered while I was actually shooting these little clips. If the van starts to hop, or if your vehicle starts to hop while you're driving forward, just let off the gas a little bit, but keep momentum. When you start to hop, that's just gonna put pressure and wear and tear on your springs, and you're just gonna be digging down and shooting sand out the back. So just let up the gas just a tiny bit, just to slow yourself, but keep on going forward. So a big thanks goes out to my assistant Meg. Meg is doing a great job out on the sand. She's just learning how to drive in the sand as well. And you didn't get stuck. High five.
Even though I tried.
Even though she tried. All right, well, I hope this helped someone. Again, if you guys have any tips or tricks, feel free to let me know. And if you like this video and you want to see more, or if you like our adventures, subscribe to the channel, like all that stuff. We love the support. We love to talk to you online and all of that good stuff. Okay, go drive on the sand.